Say hello to Ryzentosh. For less than $1,000, I built an all AMD Hackintosh with a Ryzen 1600 CPU and Radeon RX 480 GPU. It not only outperforms the $3,000 iMac, but also the fully loaded $5,000 plus Mac Pro for less than $1,000. And one of you is going to win it thanks to our sponsor for this episode, Privacy.com. Great virtual credit cards that protect your money. As you may have noticed, given the fact that I recently built a 5-year-old Hackintosh that outperformed a decent chunk of Apple's current lineup, Intel hasn't really been doing very exciting stuff lately. And AMD's new Ryzen platform has really come in to shake things up. Now, surprisingly enough, it's macOS compatible, and so I opted to buy a Ryzen 1600. For just a bit over $200, you get a 6-core processor that has a price to performance ratio so good, it'll tickle your giblets. I also used an ASRock B350 Pro ATX motherboard, which normally costs $99, but it had a $30 rebate on top of a $14 Newegg discount on top of a $10 markdown. So I got the thing for $45, which is a steal. And I'm also just using the stock cooler that comes with the CPU, which does a surprisingly excellent job, even for overclocking, much better than expected and much better than Intel's included crappy coolers. I also have 16 gigabytes of crucial ballistics DDR4 memory, and the motherboard has allowed me to overclock said memory to 2666 megahertz, which is good because Ryzen really benefits from fast RAM frequencies. Ideally, you'd just buy 3000 plus, but I only had 2400 megahertz laying around. I also decided to go with an AMD RX 480 for my GPU. Now, no, it's not the latest and greatest, but even at a year old, it still performs remarkably well. That is assuming you can find one. Cryptocurrency miners have purchased pretty much every mid-range GPU in sight, and so prices on GPUs currently, especially mid-range GPUs, especially from AMD, like the RX 480, are crazy inflated. So keep that in mind if you're deciding to build a machine anytime soon. Now, we throw the whole system into a Phanteks P400 case, which is beautiful. It comes with a tempered side glass panel, a few fans, and it even comes with an RGB LED strip, all for less than $80. And then lastly, I went for an EVGA B550 fully modular power supply. Now, assembling the hardware is just a fraction of the battle. And unfortunately, it's the easy fraction. The OS installation is where things get tricky, and there are several custom kernels floating around the internet that allow you to run macOS on Ryzen. But since we're in the early days of Ryzen on macOS, really the early days of Ryzen, most of the people tinkering around with this stuff are experts. So none of the tutorials are very specific, and installation is much more involved and difficult than an Intel-based Hackintosh. Now, the AMD OS X community helped me the most, and their Discord chat was vitally important in helping me get my machine up and running. And now that it's set up, it's a golden build. Everything works, including some stuff that even good Intel Hackintosh builds lack, such as sleep-wake functionality, iMessage, the App Store, etc. But be warned, getting to this point where you have a golden build is not easy, and it will take a considerable amount of time and effort. For example, I needed to use an old NVIDIA 750 Ti to set up the machine because Ryzen CPUs don't support internal graphics, and AMD cards aren't supported during the install process. See, it's kind of janky. You gotta expect that if you're going to do this. But was it worth it? Well, I'd say so, but don't take my word for it. So I was able to overclock the CPU, with the stock cooler mind you, to 3.8 gigahertz, and the results are, they're truly stunning. In Geekbench, Ryzentosh's multi-core score outbenches all of Apple's lineup, including the near $6,000 Mac Pro. And its single-core performance is just as surprising, outbenching all but Apple's fully loaded 2017 Intel i7 7700K iMac. Now, this trend continues through both Cinebench, as well as my Adobe Premiere Video Export benchmark, where you can see Ryzentosh just friggin' clobbered the iMac. The only area really where Ryzentosh seems to fall short is in Final Cut Pro, and unfortunately, it really falls short. My loaded 5K iMac exported over twice as quickly, as Final Cut heavily relies on the Intel QuickSync platform, which is obviously not present on AMD Silicon, but it's also not present on Xeon processors, which is why the Mac Pro was also quite a bit slower. Perhaps the best thing about a Hackintosh, though, is that you have the GPU. Now, it admittedly won't help much in Final Cut Pro and really even Adobe Premiere and macOS, but with the RX 480, games in macOS all ran very smoothly at 1440p ultra settings with an average of around 60 frames per second. Even better, though, this is a PC, so don't bother with gaming in macOS. You just boot into Windows, and suddenly you've got a killer gaming setup. And this is really the area in which Ryzen excels, if you ask me at least. You get the performance of a gaming PC with them dank RGBs, but you also have the option to have the productivity software and elegance of macOS. And to be honest, I think you'd be pretty hard-pressed to build a more well-rounded system with a superior performance for the same price. I'm not talking just Hackintoshes, even PCs as a whole. Really, the only thing better than a Ryzen Tosh for $900 is a Ryzen Tosh for free. And one of you will be getting this very computer thanks to privacy.com. I love privacy. In short, what their service allows you to do is create virtual credit card numbers. Now, why would you want to do that? Well, let's say you're ordering something from a moderately sketchy website. You can create a burner card that you can only use once, or you can set a spending limit on it. And you can even create merchant-specific credit cards. For example, this is a credit card number that I've created with privacy that I use with Netflix. The credit card has an $11 monthly spending limit and can only be charged by Netflix, nobody else. So it doesn't matter that you can see this whole number, because unless your name is Netflix and you're charging less than $11 once per month, the card doesn't work. It's awesome. They even have a killer Chrome extension that generates and autofills new card numbers, and they have excellent mobile apps for when you're on the go as well. The best part, though, is that privacy makes money from its merchants, so it doesn't cost you a single penny. Get protected, get privacy. So, the giveaway. To win Ryzen Tosh, all you have to do is sign up for a free privacy account using the link in the video description, and you will be automatically entered to win. The giveaway is open worldwide. You only have to give them your email. That's it. No purchase is necessary, and full terms and conditions are available in the video description below, but it is a super low-key giveaway, and thank you to Privacy for that. My buddy Dom Esposito also built a Ryzen Hackintosh, but he went balls to the wall with higher-end components, water cooling, and a sexy modified PowerMac G5 case. Be sure to check out his video here. Like this video if you liked it. If you didn't like it, well, that other button seems to work okay too, I guess. But thank you so much for watching, and as always, stay snazzy.